Hello and welcome to the Keeper's Corner here. You see the daily stuff, guys. Training event, campaign, festival stuff is up, so spend those training points you saved up, get some rewards. Unfortunately, there's no double gold sale, but we get 50% bonus gold, whoop-de-doo. It does help a little bit if you're buying some gold. I mean, 30 bucks for 2 1/4. It's not terrible. I really don't understand why they wouldn't have just given us a ×2, though. The gold prices are a little skewed in the shop already, I believe. But a few things, now that the update is out every day, we want to come in and check out our daily deals. There are going to be some decent ones in here, I want to say. I really like the 80 gem 1,000 food. The 5 void cores for 500 here is pretty damn nice, too. We're going to have to grab those. As you see, we're a little short on gems. I'll take care of that later. But one of the things I did want to note here is you guys may notice that my gold has jumped quite a bit from the last video I posted last night. There are a few things I'd like to cover in terms of gold farming. The first of which would be tower attacks. Before the patch, the tower was using a somewhat strange algorithm to determine your account strength, basically, based on what items you have, how many stars you have, all that good jazz. So for some of us who are kind of right on that cusp of greatness, so to speak, we're getting matched up against a ton of beta players and towers filled with 5 bombards and things that were just too difficult for us to beat. And now that that isn't the case, we're just simply grouped within our level range. So as you can see, I put up 2,400 tokens or trophies in a session last night. And one of the things I always want to note, whenever you're attacking towers or hero battles, anything in this game, it's really good to keep a notepad nearby of just some tips and tricks, your opponents, what they're running, what you need to expect. You'll see here I'm running my Knigget, along with 2 healers and my Archmage. It's pretty much my go-to for tower attacks nowadays. It's a little slow because you got to wait on the cycles of Poison Cloud and Meteor Swarm, because those are pretty much your only sources of damage. But with just a Dreadplate Katana build, or even a Shell of Protection Katana build, if you got 2 decent healers, your Knigget should be able to survive at least 3 bombards, up to level 50, I want to say, usually. And, it depends on the heroes and the tower itself. Repentance can help take your night out pretty quick. If that's the case, you gotta really keep an eye on your revives. Be careful with your soul energy. Righteous Call, Poison Cloud, Meteor Swarm are going to be your #1 sources of soul energy. So if you're going to need revives, if you're going to need rapid regenerations, you got to make sure you really time those out accordingly. And you can see there as Righteous Call goes off, it does give quite a significant soul energy boost. So I tend to always use that in towers. Also, when you've got Taunters and a Bombard that just needs one little tiny sliver of health taken off, Righteous Call can be really good in those situations. And there are a few timeout towers I've run into. I mean, the problem with running only 1 DPS like this is if they've got friggin' 5 level 50 tanks and a 5 or 6 star druid, it's going to be pretty tough to kill them all with this build before the time runs out. In that regard, Inspiration's your best friend. Every stack of Inspiration is going to increase the attack and whatnot in defense of your heroes. Magic resistance is something in this game that's a little finicky. These defense reductions from, say, the Necromancer or the Barbarian do not affect magic damage the same way as, say, the Berserker's Howl does. The Berserker, I want to say, is the only hero in the game that flat reduces magic resistance. And when you look at some of the items in the game, the Shell of Protection, Strength of Legend, Dreadplate, most heroes are not going to be above 20 to 30% magic resistance. Of course, the Cleric does give that little bit of a boost there, so you might see some 40%ers. But the Berserker's definitely going to be able to debuff some of those magic resistance heroes. more and more I've been looking at the values of the Berserker in different ways. He does have some really nice items in his tree. So in the next couple days here, I'm going to go ahead and level up my Berserker, craft him a Volcanic Axe, and see how we do with that in some PvP battles, tower battles, hero battles, that kind of things. That way you guys can see firsthand what he's like before you go wasting any investment on him. And, like I said, this double hero build, or double healer build, isn't always necessary. I use it just to be safe, and you will see a lot of the beta players, level 50s and whatnot, they convert to this double healer build almost all the time because you can't outlive a lot of these super strong monsters and machines later in the game unless you bring 2 healers. And of course that's going to rely on you having a pretty good Rod of Ruin, a decent Archmage as well. 5 stars is preferable. 4 stars is good enough for just about any hero in the game, so long as you've got both passive slots. Just keep in mind that, your 5-star buff's going to give you 50 attack and defense, 100 health, I want to say. 6 stars is 75, 75, and 125, and 7 stars is like 125, 125, and 250. So those 6 and 7 stars are going to give you more raw stats than the best items in the game, when you combine the 2 of them. So if you ever run into a hero that's equally matched and he just devastates you, it's usually going to be those stars. We did cover in another video picking up quick stars from hero packs if you're willing to spend the money. But of course we do have our heroic missions, we have our tower, there are some good sources of free epic gems. If you were able to defeat the wizard and reset your wizard tower, there are a handful of portal stones available in there. Keep in mind, gold and regular portal stones, although they don't seem like it, they really add up over time. I'm already about to hit 5 and 6 stars on most of my heroes just from portal stones. So yeah, it's definitely worth trying to stack as many portal stones as possible. A lot of those are going to come from your feast hall and your guild and things like that. But definitely don't underestimate the value of portal stones. And as you can see here with the tithe running on the cleric, we got almost 2,000 gold from just that run. Unfortunately, our random loot drops here were 2 skill scrolls and some skill points. But even with the item cap, if you get 3 commons here, I've been tending to sell my low-level commons. I've noticed the item cap comes in at about level 30 to 33 on commons. So before, when we were farming level 44 items, 45 items to get our 2,500 to 3,000 gold, it was costing us a lot more food and investment. If you want to just go ahead and farm items, you can farm items at a level 32 campaign. For example, just the same chapter 4 boss, but on normal instead of extreme. And you're going to spend about half the food you usually would. And you're going to net half the return, so it's going to take you 2 hours to get 50,000 gold as opposed to 1 hour. But you're going to spend the same amount of food and gems as you were before. And another thing, like I said before, always make sure you're doing your heroic missions every day. I do have my set 2 heroes I'm doing these with right now, which are the Cavalier and the Templar. I really want to get a 5 or 6 star Templar fairly soon so I can use them as a 3rd tank. There's the Paladin, a few others that are viable as tanks, but they don't have the taunt that the Templar has. And just one other thing as well, keep in mind, if you are able to beat that wizard, you can reset your wizard tower to get rid of these quests. You can also re-roll them once a day. But one of the things we're going to want to make sure we try and do every day is take our lowest value quest. For example, you see we have the 10 hero battle quest here that's going to net us 15,000 gold. And then we've got the 3 floors of the wizard tower that's going to get us only 1 portal stone and 300 food. So we're going to reset that one. The tower and hero battles, 10 attack quests are going to net you the biggest rewards. At a maxed food hall, those are 25,000 gold apiece. So if you can get 2 of those in a day, I mean, that's 50,000 free gold. That's going to be more than you get most places. Another thing we checked out a little bit last night, and we'll go a little bit more into in the coming days, is the random teams here in the Wizard's Tower. Pardon my guild marks here. Sorry guys, I know we're supposed to spend on other things, but I need to get rid of these. The Wizard's Tower, or Wizard's Chosen now, in this patch has a 50% chance to be randomized. So that means you can get like even more of a hodgepodge team than usual. But there are some pretty menacing teams in here as well. The dodge teams can be pretty difficult if you don't have items on your team that reduce dodge chance. Ambushers Hacker's tremendous for that. I try to keep an Ambushers Hacker hero on at least one of my teams for now until they outlevel their usefulness. And you'll see these are the same heroes I used in my speed fights. With anything, you're going to want to bring your biggest hitters and whatnot. But you also want to typically go a little heavier into DPS when you're dealing with the Wizard's Chosen. Unfortunately, this Riposte Fool can be pretty painful to a double strike repeated Blackguard, but we're going to take care of him pretty quick. The thing about moving Blackguard into this team as well is for the Soul Rend, which when you don't have a taunt is really good at stopping resurrections and things like that. Typically in regular PvP, not a lot of players use a backline taunter. But there you see they do have some value in terms of keeping your healers and resurrection guys alive. And you can definitely see Riposte has gotten some improvements in the patch. It's definitely going off a lot more often. So if you're one of those people that have been trying to make your swashbuckler work, it might be time to return to him and give him another chance. And you know, there are a myriad number of teams that you can succeed in these Wizards Chosen fights with pretty quickly. I personally enjoy these ones because they put out DPS so quickly. This backline here, I think, has the best synergy of most. The War Master really pumps Kensai and Shaman up to a superior level than they are already at, and really helps make the Kensai's damage a little more consistent. And you see here, I've got my focus team in the back. I swapped the Blackguard and the Ninja out for the Knight and the Archmage, mostly just to move them to my third team. As I've said many times, despite the Vanish changes, I think Ninja's still a very viable hero in PvP and PvE. His true damage, poison dart, damage reduction, all that good stuff really, really, really helps in a number of different situations. And you'll see I've switched over from using Inflict Wounds to using Poison on my Necromancer. That's particularly for heavy damage reduction Knights and for the Wizard himself. Both of those, the Knight and the Wizard, a few other heroes in the game, take tremendous amounts of poison damage, even when they have really high resistances and defense. So don't underestimate how powerful poison and damage over time spells can be. If you can get yourself, you know, an Epic Wand Warlock or a few other things like that, the Epic Amazon, those are going to help you out in these focus fire teams and things like that. But as you can see, the Wizard's Chosen is a little bit more difficult. It's nothing really to be worried about. I've heard of a few people running into some real issues with the random teams. Let's just be thankful we don't have to fight 4 samurais. I guess during testing there were some issues with multiple heroes. And of course, with a new update, anytime you guys run into anything that you think might be a bug or a glitch or not functioning as intended, make sure you let the guys at Ninja Kiwi know so they can get on top of fixing it and taking care of it for us. Historically, so far, they've been really great with updates and listening to the player base. So definitely make sure you put your thoughts and your feedback out there to help them keep making this game better. And these bastards are probably going to kill my Knigget. You fought a valiant fight, sir, but your time has come. It does bother me a little bit that in these Wizard Chosen's fights, I'm running into 1 out of the 4 heroes pretty often that has no equipment on, it seems like. I'd rather the whole team have 4 super rares than 2 epics and 2 unequipped. So that's something they might have to look at going forward here. But as you can see, it took me a little bit longer than my previous teams used to. And unfortunately, still for the low-end rewards, but always keep in mind you can farm those battle chests from hero battles. And that's about it for now. I'm going to cover a few more things later with the Korgan's Extreme chapters, so hopefully you guys come back and check that out. Have a good one.